2022 is behind us, and we're on to 2023. On today's show, Dan and I are going to recap a batshit crazy year in the NFT market, as well as looking ahead to what promises to be a hopefully better 2023. We'll see about that. A lot of interesting stuff coming up in this next year. Before we get going, please like today's stream, subscribe to our channel, head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT portfolio management needs. Nothing we say today is financial advice. Please do your own research. Nothing we say any day is financial advice. And if you would have seen all the things that have gone up in value that I passed on in 2022, you would know not to take my advice. Dan, Happy New Year. How are we doing today?
Yeah, Happy New Year for sure. Doing good. I mean, I think I'm doing better than you, at least on the physical side of things. You were a little bit sick the last couple of days.
Yeah, I ended the year sick. My wife was sick. Our son is sick. It was a miserable way to end 2022, but you know what? It was fitting for how shitty of a year it was. So we're feeling better heading into the new year. We're ready to go. So let's hop into it. You know, we're going to recap 2022. First off, I want to you brought up that December was actually a step in a positive direction for the NFT market for the first time in quite a while. So I'm looking at some of the data right now. We had an increase in sales volume of about 30 million USD, which is a positive thing. And this is on OpenSea. I still am hesitant to use Blur information just due to all of the wash trading on there and harvesting of the airdrop. So, we saw an increase of, 30 million USD in sales. We saw the number of NFTs sold increase significantly by about 250,000. And then the best indicator to me, and I know that you feel this way too, is the number of active users ticked up a little bit. It wasn't a huge increase. It was still the lowest or the second lowest all of last year, but it was up from November. So, a few thousand people came back to buy NFTs who hadn't bought NFTs in November, or at least a few accounts did. Maybe it's people multi-accounting. I don't know. But in my opinion, we're moving in a slightly better direction, Dan.
Yeah, and I think the average price of a sold NFT also went up, but I don't have the numbers. I don't have those numbers in front of me right now. But even beyond volume, the vibes are better as well. And there are more marketplaces right now, and for sure there's like a large amount of volume that should be added to those numbers. But it's just so hard to know how much actually is true, right? Because you mentioned all the wash trading. But I've started using Blur as well, just because I guess it's cheaper on there, right? So did you see the message? They were starting with fees soon.
Oh, because it was 0 fees on their end. So what are their marketplace fees going to be?
I think they're going to start with 2% or with 0.5%, but either way, they were going to start with increments of 0.5, move up a little bit, but they're going to pay out a token to project owners that have their project on Blur or something.
Okay.
So it's
because I know OpenSea is 2.5. I haven't seen what the percentage is going to be on there yet, but I have to imagine that activity is going to drop a bit at the end of January once the airdrops happen and people can claim their Blur token. Curious to see what happens with the price of that. I have to imagine it's going to go down. Are they going to be able to, because this time last year we're getting the Looks Rare airdrop and that pumped a bunch of liquidity into the market. Are we going to see the same kind of thing where it pumps for a bit and then it just plummets, or does Blur have a better game plan in place to make sure that they continue to drive value to that token? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the real question, right? Like the cynical side of me says it's gonna do the usual pump and then just completely get obliterated. But one way to find out, I suppose.
That's for sure. So let's get into some of the highlights from 2022. I was trying to think about some of these and look back, and a year in NFT time. It's crazy. First off, that we've been doing this show for over a year. We've been doing this show for a while now, and I love it. It's awesome. But it was quite the year. and just trying to think back to like, okay, what was going on last January and like the subsequent months.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to start, one of the biggest moments of the year was the Otherside launch for sure. That was the most highly anticipated drop of 2022. For many people, it was their first opportunity to mint something from Yuga. And boy, it could not have gone much worse. For those who don't remember or who weren't here, over $100 million was lost in gas fees to miners because of the incredibly high demand for Otherside land.
Yeah, that was something. Like, I remember like that was very like reminiscent of very old like NFT days for me, where where you would buy something for like 0.05 and then pay 0.05 in gas fees. That was something. That meant that $100 million lost in gas fees. And then they were flaming Ethereum, the blockchain. They were like, yeah, stop working or something.
Yeah, they basically said that they are going to need to go to their own chain because ETH couldn't keep up, which was not the best look by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
It was definitely the biggest L I think that Yuga has taken so far. It was just such a missed opportunity. They didn't do a Dutch auction. Then they put out an article about why Dutch auctions are stupid, and then they just totally dropped the ball that way. It was a big L on their part. But I think, I still think Otherside has the potential to be something very special. We've seen in recent weeks, preview videos about it. We know that they are building it. So, and according to an interview that one of the founders did with Benzinga, it should be live in Q3. And we're going to have the next journey late in Q1 in March. So I think there's a lot of exciting stuff to come. This time next year, we'll be talking about whether or not the Otherside full launch was a success or a flop. So I think Yuga still has a lot of cool stuff coming, and they'll bounce back from that.
No, yeah, for sure. Like, I still think the Otherside is a really big make or break, but I think with the new CEO in place, I think they've got a really good position, and I'm hoping it works out. But I am excited. The Otherside is one of the few projects where I'm actually actively keeping my eyes out on, looking for any deals or looking for any good entrants. So yeah, looking forward, and looking forward to March as well, for sure.
Yep. A few other highlights from the year involving Yuga was the doxing of the founders. I believe that happened in February or March.
Yeah, February.
But BuzzFeed, with the help of notorious douchebag Ryder Rips, gave information to BuzzFeed about the identities of the Yuga founders, and they decided to just go ahead and dox them without talking to them first. So that was a bad look for BuzzFeed, for the writer of that article. But now, we know who the founders are. They've become a lot more forward-facing over the last few months as well. Like, they've done interviews. They have their own YouTube show. So I think that, it was probably the right thing for the business long-term, but the way it was handled was pretty terrible.
Yeah, I assume that they would rather do it on their own terms.
Yeah, which I think would have had to happen eventually, right? They're growing to a point where they couldn't be anonymous forever.
Yeah.
And then lastly, for BAYC was the acquisition, or for Yuga was the acquisition of Punks and Me Bits in Q1 of 2022 as well. So that was a huge piece of news. I'd say overall it was for the best. You hear the founders of Larva Labs, Matt and John, say that they didn't really want to be responsible for CryptoPunks moving forward. It wasn't really what they envisioned for the project when they began it. And I think that if anyone to buy it, Yuga is probably one of the better choices, as opposed to being acquired by, a non-native business that isn't really going to do what's best for the holders and for the business long term.
Yeah, I mean, I'm incredibly happy it was Yuga. Still wonder what they're going to do in the future, but knowing Yuga, we're gonna hear something eventually, right? It's kind of crazy because sometimes, I have to remind myself that they aren't the original founders of those projects. And then I'm like, wow, someone else made those. It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had one that was put up in an art exhibit in Miami for Art Basel. But beyond that, I think that they're mainly just trying to focus on getting them recognized as a piece of historically significant art due to their provenance in the world of NFTs. I don't think they're going to be doing a whole lot much beyond that. And I don't think that the crypto punks, the people who've been holding punks for a long time, want them to do anything else.
True. Yeah. No, I don't think they need to do anything else. I think the floor of CryptoPunks might move in accordance with like the general NFT state, right? Like similar to right now, like Otherside or anything Yuga, I suppose. Anything Yuga kind of moves with market sentiment, which is pretty good for like a market leader, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Punks have been kind of just holding steady for a while now. They reached a frenzy of 150 ETH floor at one point last year, just below it. And they've been, they've pulled back like everything else. And they've just been kind of like hanging out in the 65 ETH range. I think we'll see that happen for a while. But I do believe still that long term, if NFTs become mainstream and 5-10 years down the road, they will have a level of historical significance that's going to set them apart. So I think it should be the goal of any NFT collector who's serious about this to try to get their hand on a CryptoPunk at some point. It's a lot of money. I get that. But I just think, not financial advice, it is. I'm happy that I'm holding a punk. I have no interest in selling it. I like that piece of art in my collection.
No, yeah, I mean, and it's such like a big flex, like even if you don't want to flex, having a CryptoPunk as your PFP is just like, like it's just like, whoa, like it's definitely the grail of NFTs.
Yeah, for sure. So I asked this question on Twitter, Dan, and this kind of goes off topic for a second, but what one NFT would you like to acquire this year? Like, what is your dream piece that you would add to your collection?
For this whole year?
Yeah, like say, I had the goal last year of buying a CryptoPunk. I was able to achieve that goal. Like, what one NFT over the course of the year would mean the most to you to add to your collection?
That's a very hard question. It's such a long year, like it's such a long year. I would probably, I mean, of course, like if I could afford a punk, I would say a punk. But if I had the money, if I had the ETH to afford a punk and nothing else, I don't think I would buy a punk. I think that would make me feel like a little bit like overinvested myself.
That's fair.
But I would say maybe like a Coda or something. Maybe like I can keep it small and I can say like a Otherside land with a pet on it. It's 4 ETH something.
Okay.
That's one of the things I'm really looking at, and one of the things I'll be happy having, because you can like decouple those, right? So you can take them off the land.
Yeah,
eventually.
there should be some sort of decoupling with artifacts and codas. So I think that's that's an interesting approach to take. I know that the pets, I think, are going to be pretty highly sought after. So I think it's a really sharp call on your part.
Yeah, so that's I would say that those are the things I would be really happy with having this year. But yeah, I don't have that much ETH to say like, yeah, I'll buy a punk this year or something.
We can work your way up to it. You can sell stuff here and there, stock away your ETH, and then by the end of the year, hope to make a big purchase of some kind. I would love to get my hands on a, and this is dreaming really big, but get my hands on a Fidenza at some point. Like,
how much
that
is that? Like 120?
No, they're around like 90, which is still a ton of money. Like that's 89 is the floor, and the floor one is pretty ugly. I think the first one I see on here that I would actually want to own is like 99 or 170. Like they're expensive, but yeah, that's a long-term goal if I want to be a sophisticated art collector.
Yeah, connoisseur, if you will. Yeah. But I mean, I had no idea that I would be in this position one year ago, because I'm really fortunate that I've barely ever put any fiat in NFTs. So yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know where I'll be next year, right?
Anything's possible, man. Maybe
yeah.
We're going to talk about it when we do the look ahead, but maybe the captains go absolutely crazy, and you can trade your potatoes and captains for a punk at some point.
Yeah, but the hard part about anything Memeland, I don't feel good selling anything from that project. Because I flipped my way through a couple, And I was always like, I'll always keep one, like for sure. Like I'll never exit this project. Then I bought a few more, so that's where I am currently.
That's how I got my punk, was through selling apes earlier this year. I was able to, take big profits there and turn some of that, into a punk as a long-term hold, kind of in case Yuga can't execute on apes, but still having a historical significant NFT. Let's keep moving. Sorry, I derailed the conversation. I know we have plenty of highlights to talk about. Why don't you jump into a few that really, stuck in your mind from the last year?
I would say maybe Pixelmon reveal, right? Like it's such like a iconic moment in history, I think, because similar to CryptoPunk, like we got the Kevin, right? We got the Kevin, because man, we had 2 or 3 weeks of Kevin derivatives, and that was absolutely insane.
Yes, it was. That was for those who were not here for the launch of Pixelmon, they brought in like what, $70 million in their
something like that,
in their sale. I believe it. Did they do a Dutch auction?
They did a Dutch auction, and I think they sold out at 2 ETH, I think.
Yeah,
so I think it was around 20,000 ETH, I think.
They brought in an obscene amount of money. They had these previews for this beautiful art for this amazing game they were going to drop. And then the actual art was dog shit. But with that being said, we did get, and you can see it on the thumbnail. I'll pull him up right now. He is the darling of the NFT space, Kevin. I mean, would you look at this handsome guy? Like, that was one of the most, was that the most memed outside of like MFers? That has to be one of the most memed NFTs from 2022.
I think so. Like maybe up there with like Mechaverse or something, like something along those lines.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Just absolutely crazy. And we see that this floor on Kevin is still 4 ETH, Dan. Yeah. It is still holding at 4 ETH because it's, is Kevin going to be historically significant someday?
It already is.
Is that going to be something like
you can argue
5 years from now where people are going to be back like, whoa, you were here for Kevin and you have a Kevin in your wallet? Like that would be, there are way less Kevins than there are CryptoPunks.
Yeah, so, they're still significant 1 year later, right? Like what's a few more years?
There's only 146 Kevins in existence.
There you go.
That's pretty crazy.
Numbers.
The numbers, man. They add up. They add up in a big way. What else, jumps out at you from 2022 as some of the marquee moments?
Speak about marquee markets, right? Like new marketplaces. Because we have, I don't know, did Lux Rare launch in 2022?
Yeah, that was January of right at the beginning of 2022, and we got that token drop to start the year. Man, that was remember when we got all that free money? Remember when like the SOS token dropped, and then we had the Lux token, and everyone was just rolling in cash, and now we're all just destitute.
Yeah, I'm so happy with what I did. I think I got away pretty like nicely in both situations. I don't think it wasn't SOS, right? It was something else. I think SOS came later. I don't remember what though. Was it SOS?
I want to say so. Ace, appreciate you being here. Also a highlight, professional athletes rugging their own NFT projects. We got rugged by athletes. I believe there was a porn star who dropped a rug. All sorts of people, influencers. Logan Paul with his crypto zoo that he's trying to put more stuff out now to cover his ass. We had all sorts of people just rugging left and right.
And that'll always be that way, right? Like people are like, I'm not saying like people that are getting rugged, it's their fault. But, I'm hoping that in the next year, well, in this year, to be fair, I don't know why I said next year, that in this year, people, become more wary of these things because like, you are buying a porn star's NFT. Like, I'm just saying, it's not like you got.
Remember, right? Remember Irene Dow when that whole thing happened? Like, just the absolute ridiculousness of that. And there will continue to be bad actors in the space, but Dan and I are here to try to steer you away from them, provide some context, call out the bullshit in this space. So continue to turn in tune in to Web3 and Me for all the hard hitting content. We had a few big projects that are some of the viewed as the top in the space now dropped last year in Azuki and Moonbirds. You know, with Azuki, it was a Dutch auction. It sold out at like what, 1 ETH, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it took just a, you know, it consolidated for a while. It like slowly went up in price. And then it just, I remember when it went crazy last year. My internet.
You're back.
Azuki went crazy right around NFT LA when they dropped the crates into people's wallets live at the event. And, you know, they did something interesting that with the beans. It was an up and down year for Azuki. You know, they rocketed up. Then there was the Zagabond drama that came out. Then they started to get some momentum back with, you know, throwing some good events at NFT NYC. They had some cool partnerships with the streetwear line Ambush. They had their Azuki on a Red Bull, on Max Verstappen's Red Bull racing car for F1. And so I think they've been and they had the golden skateboard auction. Like Azuki did a lot this year. And I think that they've started to redeem themselves in the eyes of a lot of people. I know that I was very outspoken against Zagabond at first. And I still don't love what he's done in the past. And I don't trust the guy by any means. But Azuki has shown that they have some of the strongest holders out there, and that holding we've seen lately a lot of the Spirit Azukis sell for very high prices. So Azuki is still very much in demand.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, there's so many new projects coming out that look exactly like Azuki, but this kind of look worse. Like I think Azuki by purely like visual standards, I think they've done like an incredibly good job, right?
Yeah, I would agree. And then we also had Moonbirds. That was, I think that may have been the most highly, outside of Otherside, the most, second most highly anticipated drop.
Yeah.
And that was one where we saw it go from a 2 ETH mint price up to a 40 ETH floor in the span of like a week and a half. You know, you and I were live together watching when it first revealed. It was on that Saturday, and we just sat there and we called that. We didn't call where it was eventually going to. We called where the starting price was, but we didn't, we were sitting there together. We didn't pull the trigger at 7 ETH, and then we just slowly watched it grind, and then it just went absolutely nuts. And, it had drama with the, I believe he was the COO, Ryan Carson at the time. A lot of issues with him buying rare ones before people really knew how rare they were. Him putting out some tweets about how great the floor price was and how the value is going up. So it's been a tumultuous, and the COO decision, or CC0, I'm sorry, decision earlier this year. So it has been, that's another project that has its ups and downs, a lot of potential heading into Q1 of this year, which we'll talk about, in further detail as we move along through the show.
Yeah, there was some more drama with their first staking reward, right? Like fanny packs or something.
Oh yeah, the fanny packs. How could I forget the fanny packs?
Yeah.
For those who were nesting their Moonbirds, I think it was the first one was actually the oddity. I think the first one was the oddity, and then the second reward was the fanny packs. So, not the best visuals right there. People are definitely hating on the fanny packs. I thought that it was, I thought it was a bit ridiculous. You got fanny packs, socks, and like pins, and not what I would expect, but hey, people seem to like their fanny packs. So I hope that things go well with them. They have, like I said, cool stuff coming Q1. What else did we have last year, Dan? A lot of Web 2 brands coming into Web 3.
Yeah, we've seen Starbucks. There's so many to name. I consider it. Well, I wouldn't be able to name like a lot of them. There are so many. There are so many new brands coming in and being more like, well, maybe we can give some like cash back here or more like advantages here, like Starbucks, for example.
Yep. Starbucks, Nike, Oh God, what else? Like
Adidas, I
so
think.
many. Like Bentley, Adidas. We saw Tiffany had their
FLOLiO.
NFT, NFTIF, whatever the hell they want to call it.
Yeah.
So a lot of big brands. I think that's going to be a theme moving into this coming
Yeah.
year as well. Is a lot of these brands are continuing to prepare and position themselves. These change from ETH over, after the merge
Oh
to
yeah.
proof of stake definitely
So big.
is
Yeah.
making a lot of businesses more apt to switch over to ETH now that the environmental concerns have been greatly reduced there. So that was a good thing. And as always, a few big hacks and scams last year, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, it is crypto, so hacks are gonna happen, unfortunately. And my God, they did. So $600 million Ronin hack. That's insane. The largest DeFi hack ever.
Yeah, that was huge. That was a huge one. We saw, is Axie Infinity still even a thing anymore? Like that was
I don't know actually. I think so. I think
that
they're
should
still
have been.
doing stuff.
I mean, Axie was huge in 2021, but it definitely fell off in a big way in 2022. We didn't hear as many stories about people in different countries making full-time wages from playing Axie Infinity. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's because the token dipped 93% this year. So I guess that's why.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll definitely do
So
it.
yeah, so that isn't great. I assume they're still doing a thing, right? But that made things hard. I think they. I mean, I don't know. I have no clue what they're doing. But the thing that's why it's kind of because they're not on OpenSea, right? They got their own marketplace and stuff.
Yes, correct. You cannot
And it's
buy
hard,
Axie on OpenSea.
and that's why it's kind of difficult because OpenSea helps a lot with visibility, right? It helps
Yeah,
a lot with keeping people in the loop and because if you're a project and you're kind of consistently in the top 100, people will see your name often. If you're not, because I don't have any exposure to Axie, I do like NFTs and gaming, but I've never looked at them ever because they're just like outside of my circle. So it's kind of sad that they're doing the whole own thing. But
yeah. A big theme for this year is going to be like making things more user friendly and more simple. Like
yeah,
the majority of people who are going to get into NFTs in their current state are probably already here. We'll have
yeah,
new people trickle in here and there as younger people get older and start to have some more money. But for us to really go mainstream, things have to be easier. Buying
yeah.
crypto has to be easier. Securing your MetaMask has to be easier. So I think that's an important thing looking into 2023 is can we simplify this process and not make it so damn complex?
Yeah, and one step in one step in the right direction is the fact that whenever you sign like a transaction on through MetaMask, it will actually tell you yo, you're actually giving them the permission to do this and this. And it didn't in the past. You just kind of sign stuff because 1 year ago, people were like, "Can I connect to this website? Like, am I gonna get hacked?" Like, yeah, you can connect to the website. Just be careful with what you sign. So that amount of knowledge has already really been like cultivated like over this year. So I feel like the knowledge of the general NFT public has definitely like improved over this year about like safety.
I think so too. We also kind of to wrap it up. Another big launch was Utes. That was probably after Otherside, after Moonbirds. That's probably the third biggest
Yeah.
launch of the year. We saw, if you're on Twitter, you saw the constant scholarship announcements of people who were selected to
Oh,
be able to mint a Ute. That was an annoying period of time. The launch happened, and then there was like, I don't know, 2.5 month delay before the art reveal took place. Then we had the announcement over Christmas that Utes are switching to Polygon, DeGods are switching to ETH. So the DeGods team, Dust Labs, Utes, they have definitely been in the spotlight a lot in
yeah.
2022, and I think they're setting themselves up to do the same in 23.
Yeah, and the potential play to make is buying Utes or DeGods before they transfer to Ethereum and Polygon. That's something people could potentially do. I looked at the floor and I was like, too risky for me. too risky for me, but it is a potential play.
If the big brain play was buying Sol at like 830 last week, then buying your DGOT or UT at that price, holding it, switching it over to, whatever chain it's going to be on in the coming months, and then selling it. Because I think there are plenty of people who are ETH NFT through and through, aren't going to bother with Solana, and will just wait until they come over to ETH to buy a DGOT. So I still think, I was looking at the prices and in ETH terms last week, and I think at one point DGOTs were just over 4 ETH.
Yeah,
which put them behind a lot of projects. And I think that was probably a good buying point. If you're looking at it from I want to use this to accumulate more ETH. I don't care about the dollar value short term. Once again, not financial advice.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And another thing that happened this year, last year, more recently, is the Trump cards. And it's noteworthy. Unfortunately, it is.
It is noteworthy. That is for sure. I do not own any Trump cards. I don't think I'll be buying any soon, but it definitely made a splash. It brought some newfound attention to NFTs. So, Dan, if you don't have anything else, we're going to move into what we believe are our winners and losers of 2022.
Yeah, carry on.
Okay, so the winners list is a lot shorter than the losers list. That's for sure. One of the big winners, in my opinion, maybe the biggest, is Pudgy Penguins. We were fortunate enough to have the CEO of Pudgy Penguins, Luca Netz, on our show multiple times this year. Neither of us bought any Pudgy Penguins because, we just didn't. But they have seen a meteoric rise over the last year, going from a floor price down at 0.8 to, over 7 ETH at one point. I believe they're settling in the 6 ETH range.
Yeah, it's definitely something.
Pretty incredible.
And we've been talking about this pretty often, but we've had him, the CEO, on our show twice, I think. And every time we brought him on, the floor went up and up and up, right? Like, it's literally been up only ever since the acquisition. But the hard part is because he spoke so much, and he's very eloquent. He was really, the goals he had in mind seemed to be good, right? But not anything different from anyone else, in my opinion. But the difference is that he actually did do them. Like, he's actually out there working hard. And it's quite difficult to tell whether or not someone is going to do that. But he did. Yeah. So definitely like a man of the people. And the thing is that there's a reason why I think that a lot of projects that come on our show tend to do well. And that's because how many projects are willing to hop on, like, even a small show like ours to talk about their project? Like, that shows commitment, I think. So if Lucas out here coming on our podcasts and the video gets like 400 views or something, that means he's such a hard worker that he even takes all opportunities, right? So maybe that's something worth praising him for.
Yeah, I mean, we're slowly but surely building our subscribers. We're almost at 500, but for sure, like, someone of his stature to see the size of our show and be like, you know what, I'll go on with these guys. Like, I'll take any opportunity I can get to talk about Pudgies and get out in front of people. I think you are 100% correct on that, Dan. And one thing that Luca understands better than most founders is, especially in a bear market, how important people's attention is. Like, this is an attention economy right now, and the ability to keep the attention on you in a positive way is so valuable. And he understands that. He's done that by being on YouTube shows, on Twitter Spaces. Yeah. They just started recently putting out this show called like Building in Public or something. We gotta pull it up. I gotta pull it up. I've watched a little bit of it, but just trying to make everyone aware of what they're doing, being in front of the people. So I think that, very astute on his part. And he also has a very clear vision for what he wants Pudgy Penguins to be. He articulated that very well on our show. So I think that there's a lot of very good things going for the Pudgies in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting to see what's going to happen, right? Like, if I could move forward 1 year and someone, asked me what's the floor of Pudgy Penguins, I'd be like, I don't know, man. Like, it could be like 20 ETH, right? Like, I really.
I mean, it went from
Sure.
3 to 6 in the last month alone. Sorry, but it
Yeah.
took a huge jump in just 1 month.
Yeah, like it can do anything. And that's why it's so hard, because floor price doesn't like reflect value. So
Yep.
you know, you don't know what Pudgy is worth right now. Like the price of the asset reflects the CEO as well, right? So if he keeps working hard and keeps delivering, and yeah, like the floor can still go up, shockingly. So I guess we're gonna find out what the floor is gonna do. I guess it's fun being on the sideline for now, because I mean I like seeing the floor go up, right? Like I guess it's just good for the industry as a whole.
Yep.
And like more and more projects that move towards the 10-20 ETH range, I think that's good. Like if we get like 10-20 projects that are kind of in that range, PFP projects, I think that's pretty like interesting for the scene.
Yeah, agreed. Because a lot of them, it's just kind of what you like what sort
Mm.
of businesses. Because at a certain point, you have to stop looking at them as projects and look at them as businesses, right? Like
Yeah.
what kind of businesses you want to back? Is it gaming? Is it lifestyle brands? Is it streetwear? Whatever it may be. Is it entertainment? So I think that's really interesting. Let's get into a few other winners for the year. One of them is definitely 9gag, Meme Land, the potatoes. I'm going to let you take this one because you're deep into the potatoes. This is by no means Dan pumping his bags. They really are, like, I think, have done some of the best work this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they posted something on Twitter. I don't know what. I forgot the exact details, but there was something like how there's only 2 projects currently in the top 100, like trending NFTs that were a free mint. I think that's like CryptoPunks and potatoes or something weird. So they're actually like a free mint, and they're currently over 3 ETH. It was like entirely whitelisted though, so it wasn't like public. But still, you could have picked them up for zero point 0.4 quite some time ago, and they're still giving away hundreds of ETH every week. So for this last for today, this Monday, they gave away another 40 potatoes. Like they've been giving away 20 potatoes every week since launch, I think. And it's just like, that's so much money that they're just giving out.
Oh
And
yeah.
a lot of cool stuff as well. Like there was this one thing where it's like a gym like test or something. Like, oh, if you win this, and if you do like 10 push-ups every day for the next 2 months or something, and you post proof, you get like $2,000 from us or something. And some collab with Apple, some collab with McDonald's, and they're pretty low-key just giveaway stuff, right? They don't have to be large, like huge partnerships or anything. But yeah, they've been doing a really good job, and the potatoes is only like the sidekick, and the captains are dropping in 2 days. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in that regard. So three potatoes equals one guaranteed captain, and then the rest are just kind of like first come first serve. So let's see what happens. It's pretty exciting being a holder.
Yeah, and I believe his name is Ray, the CEO of 9gag, has been out, making the rounds on Twitter Spaces, doing
Yeah.
shows. So I think that they're doing things right. I'm excited to see how they build their business out in 2023. A couple more. We have Art Blocks on here as a winner on the year. Squiggles continue to see a floor price increase throughout the year. The high value ones, I mentioned Fidenza earlier, Ringers as well. Those have remained, those have stayed very strong during the bear market. To see, generative art with a floor price of, 70 ETH in the case of Ringers, 89 ETH in the case of Fidenzas, I guess 60 ETH for Ringers right now, is very strong. And we've also talked throughout the year about Rapture, which was Dmitry Cherniak's other project that, survived a full year without anyone listing, selling, transferring. So it's going to be a very small supply and has a very high floor price. And so I think that the future is very bright for generative art, which is why I'd love to acquire one of those early, high value pieces.
Yeah, so there's currently only one Rapture listed for 175 ETH, and I'm surprised no one bought it yet. It seems like a good price. And I think that's roughly around where I thought it was gonna be. I think I mentioned that I could see it be the most expensive art blocks project ever, and I still think it does, but I think no one knows it exists. So that's I don't think anyone's like really looking at it. Yeah, cheapest one is 175 ETH. Zero volume yet, but I mean, that one's gonna be bought, and it's gonna be in that like top 100 list on OpenSea. Then I wonder what's gonna happen.
So actually, one of them was sold. Dmitry
Oh,
Cherniak held one, and he sold it. So he did an auction, and he auctioned it off for charity, which was really
oh,
cool. So it sold for like 169 ETH, and
okay.
all the money is going to charity, which I think is really cool. So that's the only one from the collection to sell so far. But yeah, I think long term, Squiggles being the first Art Blocks piece, created by Snowfro, who's the founder of Art Blocks, still a lot of potential there. We've seen the floor on that get up to like 18 ETH at its peak, and right now, actually, it dipped a bit, but it's back at 17 now. So,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 50 ETH floor on Squiggles in the future, which is crazy for a little squiggle on the screen, but it has that provenance, and it's going to continue to appreciate in value, in my opinion. Last on here for the list, you put Yuga with a question mark. I would say that it was a year of up and downs for Yuga. I'm not going to say that they were a winner on the year. Otherside was a bit of a disaster. There was a, Ape Fest and FT NYC had its highlights and lowlights. I'm going to, I wouldn't put them in the loser category either. I would just say that it was a year of like, they made, they did some things right, some things wrong. And I said it on Twitter, but 2023 is a put up or shut up time for most NFT projects. Oh God. Can you hear me now?
Oh, hello.
Hello?
I can hear you a little bit.
Oh God. What is going on?
Oh, you're good. You're back. You're back. Carry on.
Okay.
I think you became robot after we talked about like ups and downs.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of a wait and see with Yuga. I'm kind of, as a Yuga holder, I'm excited for the future, but there are some cracks in the armor that definitely showed in 2022.
No, I definitely agree, but when you don't look at floor price, do you think that in terms of like brand awareness, they've done like a good job? And like, do you think that Yuga has done well for the Yuga name this year, or overall kind of so?
They had, I think it was so. Like earlier in the year, there was all the hype about owning a Bored Ape. I mean, the NFT craze died off in a big way in the last 9 months. So like, you didn't hear the stories of celebrities getting apes or anything like that,
Yeah.
right? So they're not as visible in the mainstream. You had they were at the MTV Video Music Awards, like Snoop and Eminem had their thing there, so it definitely had a little bit more visibility from that standpoint. So they had like a good merch collab with Macbeth. They had a really bad merch drop on their own. There were, some good things, some not so good things. I think it's kind of wait and see, and it's going to be that way with like this year. A lot of these NFT businesses who are very, high floor price, big valuations, raise a lot of money. It's time to get some shit done besides just additional NFTs and merch drops.
No, I definitely agree. Also, can you hear some background noise when I speak right now? It's my damn PC. It's being annoying. It's being loud.
But it just got a lot louder. Your microphone just got a lot louder.
How about this? Is this better? It's more like
that's better. Face. Okay, that's better. Let's move. Unless you have anything else about Yuga, let's move into the losers of 2022.
Yeah, we can move on to the losers. I think we've talked about Yuga quite a bunch.
Yeah, probably too much. So let's move on to the losers of the year. First up, Gutter Cat Gang in a big way, not just in floor price, but community sentiment, I sold all of my Gutter Cat Gang stuff back in like September and October because it just doesn't seem like they're really doing a whole lot. I know they just launched a website recently, but they had this huge, ambitious 2022 roadmap, and I don't even think they accomplished like a third of it. Like there was so much stuff that didn't get done. Yes, they did the clones drop, just more NFTs. They did some merch collabs. They had a team in the basketball tournament, which got some more eyes on it. I'd say overall, like communication on their end was really poor. A lot of the holder base, a lot of infighting there. So I just think it was a bad year for Gutter Cat Gang, and it wouldn't surprise me if they don't change and if they don't deliver in the first half of 2023. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not even talked about on our recap show next year.
Yeah, I wonder because they were at their peak like almost 2 years ago, right? Like a very, very long time ago.
Oh no, it was like December of 2021, and I remember that because that's when I bought in. I bought the top, so that was great.
Oof.
But you know what? It was a great tax loss harvesting opportunity. I didn't lose a ton of ETH, but the USD went down considerably, so I got to write that off. So fun stuff there.
There you go.
Yep. Web3 gaming. That was the buzzword heading into 2022. Everyone had a game dropping, and we didn't see much of anything. Wolf Game went live. We saw BAYC had like a 1 week like mobile game competition that was okay. But other than that, Web3 gaming did not take the step forward. Maybe it was, the expectations and reality just aren't aligned as far as how long it's going to take for Web3 gaming to become a thing. But that was definitely a big miss in 2022.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is just having fun, right? Like it's hard to, because gaming is popular because it's fun in like a certain way, whether it is like casual fun or more competitive fun. People wanting to earn money has never been like their main priority. So if there's a game out where you can only really make money and it's not even fun, like it's not really gonna do extremely well.
Yeah, for sure. It has to be a fun game. Like play to earn, no one cares anymore. Like if the business that can create a really fun game and people aren't even aware that they're making money while doing it could be huge. But I think first and foremost, just make an enjoyable game that people want to play and isn't, just a boring, passive kind of thing where you don't really do anything in the game just for the sake of trying to earn a few tokens.
Yeah, definitely agree. Also, keep talking. I'm trying to fix my damn loud PC.
Okay. I'll keep going. Doodles was another big loser in 2022. They had some good events, don't get me wrong. They had a strong presence at South by Southwest, NFT NYC, Art Basel down in Miami. But they dropped a lot of NFTs this year between the duplicator, which was, it was free to holders. I get that. But they also sold like 25,000 of these Genesis boxes at like 0.51 ETH a piece. They made a ton of money. They brought in a new CEO who was a former CEO of Billboard. They have Pharrell Williams helping them on marketing and branding. Your video just got a little fuzzy there, Dan. But I'd say for the most part, like once again, their communication was really bad, and they didn't explain anything that's going on with all of these NFTs that they have out there right now. And this leads right into another one, which is Clone X. I'm not a Clone X holder. I'm not the biggest fan of Artifact because it just seems like they're constantly using their holders just to try to suck every dollar out of them they possibly can. They had the Crypto Kicks sneaker drop in December, didn't come close to selling out. They had another thing, which was like a football jersey or a helmet or something where they're charging like 0.8 ETH. I thought that was a bit of a joke. They had the, what was the luggage? I forget the name of the luggage collaboration they also had recently. That was super expensive, like 2.2 ETH for a piece of luggage that, that same brand normally retails for significantly less than that, although still expensive. So I think that Clone X was another one that just took an L. They have their Project Animus that should be launching early this year, or at least like getting further into it. there's a ton of eggs out there. There should be more of those coming. I just think that it is, their acquisition by Nike is just leading to them dropping more projects or more products for their holders to have to buy. They have these the issues with Monolith, these crazy high creator fees on things that are just products, not actually art. So to me, I've never owned. I owned a Monolith for a little bit, took an L on that one. I've never owned a Clone X. I considered buying one, but I just don't want to be Nike and Artifacts, exit liquidity. So that to me is an L and one that I'm not going to be going near.
Shit,
Any thoughts,
my
Dan?
connection dropping? It's like everything is dying on my side, dude, I swear. Everything is
God.
absolutely imploding on my side.
I'm going to keep running through it. So let's see. Cool Cats was a tough year for Cool Cats. I know that you're a Cool Cat holder, but between Cooltopia, the egg drop that happened there, it was not a good year for the Cats. They brought on a new CEO. They've had a little bit of a revival. I'm hoping that 2023 is a year where they make some progress. They had a great NFT NYC event. I'm happy about that. Dan is totally frozen. I'm just going to keep running with it, folks. So we're going to keep going. Drop some comments in there if you can hear me. Help me out here a little bit. We had Mechaverse. Oh boy, if you were around for the Mechaverse launch, it sold out at 0.25 ETH. It got up to like 10 ETH pre-reveal, and they've actually started doing some more stuff with it with their game. It's just me now. We're gonna keep rolling. So Mechaverse definitely took an L on the year, but they might be making a little bit of a comeback. Creature World by artist Danny Cole. Danny Cole is just kind of an idiot. He put out some really dumb tweets about the Ukraine war, which was not a good call. He's aligned himself with Ryder Rips, who is being sued by Yuga Labs for just making stuff up and copying BAYC art. So that was a tough one. Three Landers was a project that was getting pumped left, right, and center by every single influencer in the NFT space. That has taken a nosedive. And then, the final one on our list, I hate to say it, is World of Women. It's been a tough year for World of Women.
Hello.
Dan is back. He is sounding good. He is looking good. I just burned through Mechaverse, Creature World, and Three Landers.
Is he over here?
Huh? Dan, can you hear me? Oh, Dan. I am, in fact, here. Okay. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep plugging through. Lastly was World of Women. They dropped Galaxy of Women earlier in the year. There has seemed to be a struggle as far as the direction that they want to go. I know that they've aligned themselves with Madonna, Gaio Siri. So it has been kind of a tough go of it for World of Women this year, but I'm hoping they can make a comeback. I'm going to wrap it up today. A brief look ahead to what I'm excited for 2023. We mentioned the Captain's Mint that's going to be happening on Wednesday through 9gag Meme Land. So keep an eye on that. Be safe with that as well. We've seen with a lot of these high-profile mints, these scammers come out in full force. They are trying to put out all sorts of malicious links for people to go mint wallet draining projects from. So please be very careful there. We're going to have Project Ether dropping in January. That is one that is catching some steam. We'll talk about that in further detail as it gets closer. But what I'm most excited for is, it's time for a lot of these businesses to get shit done or get out of the way. We're going to see it with Moonbirds, Azuki, anything Yuga related. These projects, they need to deliver something besides more NFTs, besides more merch. And so I think this is the year where we see that happen. And some of them are going to make it, some will not. But I think, I'm very excited. Dan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know why. I've barely ever had internet issues, but now everything's imploding. My PC is making a loud noise, and I don't know if you can hear it. My camera was blurry, my internet died, but I'm back.
Okay, Dan is back. I ran through very quickly Doodles, Cool Cats, Clone X, Mechaverse, Creature World, Three Landers, World of Women. Anything that you would like to touch on with those projects?
I think specifically World of Women, it was such like a prominent project, but then they kind of fell off the face of the earth. At least I don't know, like my earth. I don't know how else to put it. I haven't really seen anything being said about them for such a long time. I haven't seen anything they ever like did since the beginning. So it's just kind of unfortunate to see a project to move that way, you know?
Yep, I agree. I was saying that too. Like they had so much potential being the first like big female focused project. It just seems like they haven't. They had their gala at NF, down at Metaverse Miami, Art Basel. It looked like a good time. They've thrown some good events, but outside of that, they haven't really delivered on a regular basis. So I think that's a good place to wrap the losers of 2022. What are you looking forward to in 2023?
I think it's just like more high quality projects, more Web2 brands, more specifically just potatoes and captains, just because I'm part of it. Looking forward to Otherside for the same reasons. Um, yeah, anything you guys fun to watch. So I think it's definitely like those things.
Yeah, more coming from the trial of Jimmy the Monkey. Question from Ace: what's the next big Web2 company to join Web3? Man, I wish I could tell you. I think we're going to see plenty of them happen this next year. I'm really hoping that in the very near future, get an invitation to Swoosh through Nike. I want to get involved in that more. I know I said I'm not a huge Artifact fan, but I think Nike's independent marketplace is going to be different, and I'm excited to check that out. I think they could drive a lot of people into the NFT space, hopefully in a positive way. We've seen, other brands like Kith, the 100 streetwear brands getting involved in NFTs, but Nike coming in and making some noise would be a whole other level. So that's one thing I'm excited for.
Definitely. So there are like a lot of things to be excited for next year. For this year, I keep saying next year. Last year we're like as if we're in the last year. Talk about the next year,
Yeah, it always takes, it's like when you're writing out the date and it turns to the new year, and you always write the previous year for like a handful of times. We'll get past it. By Friday's show, we're just going, oh, Ace just got his Swoosh name tag. That's awesome. I'm very excited to hear about your experience on that. I'm jealous. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming in 2023. We're in this bear market. I'm going to be talking about it in a few hours on our Market Talk show with Kevin Shannon. Anyone who wants to join for that, we'll be talking crypto and the stock market. But it was just such a bad year for these markets. I could totally see, a situation where ETH just kind of trades sideways, which I don't think is a bad thing for NFTs. Like if we have a stable price on ETH, we could see project floors move up. I think it could be a really great opportunity, not financial advice, to accumulate ETH through NFT projects and hopefully ride that into the next bull cycle. Ace, big Air Force One guy down there. I like it. I can get behind that. That kind of okay. The F1 part of that, I think we're going to see more and more with Formula One getting involved in Web3. We've seen we saw McLaren do an NFT project. We've seen Porsche launch like a POAP NFT project. So BMW as well. I think we could see the F1, Formula One. Yeah, we could see Formula One get a lot more involved in the NFT space.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I wonder, I think F1 had like a crypto game or something, but it like completely died, like Insta. So
you're going robot on me, Dan.
Oh no, can you hear me now? Is it good?
Yeah, I got better now.
Okay. So weird. I don't know what the issue is, but Formula One had like a game and it died immediately, I think.
Yeah, they had it through Animoca Brands.
Oof.
Yeah. So not the best thing in the world. I think that's we're coming up on an hour. I think that's a good place to wrap it for today, Dan. How about you?
Yeah, definitely. It's been one of the longer episodes. My throat hurts again because I'm not used to talking for an hour again. Because if you like Ace, for example, I don't know if you knew, but our episodes were an hour long every time. back in the day. But then we decided that, maybe there aren't that many people that would sit through an hour of us talking about stuff. So nowadays our normal episodes are more like 30 minutes. But on special occasions like these, we can go for an hour.
Yeah, my throat is, I'm getting over being sick. I did an hour Twitter Spaces already. I did an hour of this, and I got another show coming up in 2 hours. So I'm going to go suck on some lozenges, drink some tea, and not talk for the next 2 hours. So I think that's going to wrap it today, folks. We're going to be back on Friday, recapping the week in NFTs. We'll be discussing the Captain's launch from Meme Land. That's happening Wednesday, correct, Dan?
Wednesday, yeah, 2 days. 2 days from now.
Okay. So on Wednesday, I think that's going to create a lot of excitement in the market. Hopefully we'll see some things pump. Stay safe out there if you're minting those. Don't fall victim to any phishing links. So once again, everybody, thank you for watching. Please, please, please smash the ever-living shit out of that like button. Subscribe to our channel. Head to FLOLiO.com. We'll be back on Friday to recap the week. So for Dan, for the team at FLOLiO, Happy New Year, everybody. We really, really appreciate you continuing to support us, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.